Almost every bass angler has heard the claim, full moon means better night fishing, new moon means tougher nights. Solunar tables tell you the exact hours when bass are supposed to feed hardest. Old-timers swear by it, tackle shop conversations circle back to it, and half the fishing forums out there treat it like gospel. After 30 years of fishing nights on everything from farm ponds to big reservoirs, I've tested these ideas myself and dug into the research. I've planned trips around full moons expecting fireworks and gotten skunked. I've fished pitch black new moon nights and voted some of my biggest bass. The truth is more nuanced than the common stories, and honestly, more interesting once you understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. I'm Travis from Green Valley Anglers, and in this video, I'm going to examine what science actually shows about lunar illumination and nighttime bass behavior, separate the real effects from the myths, and give you the practical takeaways that can still improve your night fishing. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to use moon phase information without wasting your limited night fishing hours chasing a myth. Let's start with the actual research, because there's more of it than most anglers realize. A key study from 2008 used whole lake acoustic telemetry to track free-swimming adult largemouth bass across multiple lunar cycles. That means researchers surgically implanted transmitters in real bass living in a real lake, then tracked their exact locations and movements, night after night, month after month, across different moon phases. This wasn't a lab experiment with captive fish. This was wild bass going about their normal lives while scientists watched every move. The researchers looked at both activity levels and depth use. They found that the percent of the moon illuminated, and whether it was waxing or waning, did influence depth distribution during spring and summer. Bass tended to use deeper water during certain mid-illumination waxing phases. That's a real, measurable pattern. However, and this is the important part, daily movement distances and overall activity did not follow a consistent, repeatable pattern tied to the lunar cycle throughout the year. In plain terms, the moon nudged where bass sat in the water column, sometimes, but it didn't reliably turn the feeding switch on or off. The researchers concluded that Solunar tables, frequently used by anglers, have little reliable predictive value for identifying peak fishing times. Other factors simply overpower any pure lunar signal. There's more. Laboratory feeding trials add important detail here. Largemouth bass maintain high foraging success from daylight levels all the way down to full moonlight. Their eyes are built for that range. Success drops significantly at starlight levels and approaches zero in complete darkness. Moonlight is bright enough for bass to continue visual hunting at night. Starlight is not. That single fact right there explains most of what anglers experience as good and bad moon nights, and we're going to build on it in the next section. So if solunar timing and gravitational pull aren't the driving force, what is? The strongest real effect of the moon on nighttime fish is light, not gravity or mystical timing. Under a full or near full moon, ambient light levels allow bass to see and capture prey more effectively in shallow water. Think about it from the bass's perspective. More light means better contrast, better depth perception, and an easier time tracking a fleeing shad or a wounded bluegill. This extends their feeding window after dark, sometimes well past what you'd expect. Under a new moon or heavy cloud cover, light levels often fall below the threshold where visual hunting works well, so bass rely more on other senses, their lateral line, vibration detection, even scent, or they simply feed less efficiently and hold tighter to structure instead of roaming to hunt. Nighttime catch rate data collected over many trips backs this up. Overall night fishing produces fewer bass per hour than daytime fishing, full stop. That's true regardless of moon phase. But within those night trips specifically, brightness appears to matter more than exact moon position or solunar timing. When a bright moon is present, bass can feed more effectively in the shallows, and anglers using topwater and moving baits tend to see better results. When the night is dark, that advantage shrinks considerably. This does not mean bass feed all night long under a full moon and then refuse to bite the next day. It means the quality of the nighttime feeding opportunity improves when there is usable light. It's a light availability story, not a lunar magic story. Now let's talk about Solunar tables specifically, because I get asked about these constantly. Solunar theory claims that major and minor periods, based on the moon's position overhead or underfoot, create peak feeding windows, supposedly tied to gravitational pull on the Earth, similar to tides. Some long-term catch records do show modest statistical peaks around those times, especially in smaller waters where conditions are more consistent. However, the same analyses repeatedly show that weather, light levels, temperature, and wind overwhelm the lunar signal. A falling barometer, a cold front, or a stiff north wind will change bass behavior far more dramatically than any Solunar major or minor period. On larger reservoirs, where conditions vary more across different areas of the lake, the relationship is even weaker. In practical terms, a major Solunar period occurring under clear, calm, full moon conditions at night can produce good fishing. But that's really the moonlight and stable weather doing the heavy lifting, with the Solunar timing just along for the ride. The same Solunar period occurring under a cold front, high wind, or total darkness often produces little to nothing, no matter what the table predicts. The moon phase and Solunar timing are secondary factors, not the primary drivers, and treating them as the main variable will lead you astray more often than it helps. So here's how I actually use all of this information on the water, because knowing the science is only useful if it changes what you do. Plan night trips around brighter moon phases when possible, especially during warmer months when bass are more likely to move shallow after dark to feed. The extra light improves their ability to locate and strike topwaters, spinnerbaits, and other visual, moving presentations. I'll throw a walking bait or a bulky spinnerbait with confidence on a bright night because I know the bass can actually see it and track it down. On dark nights, slow down. Use lures that create more vibration or a bigger silhouette. Think bigger swim baits, jigs work slowly, or anything that displaces water and gives bass a non-visual way to zero in on it. Focus on the highest percentage cover rather than covering large amounts of open water, because bass aren't going to be roaming and hunting visually the way they will under moonlight. Do not rearrange your entire schedule around Solunar majors and minors at the expense of weather, water temperature, or seasonal patterns. Those larger forces consistently matter more. And I'd rather fish a mediocre Solunar period with great weather and stable water temps than a major period during a blown-out cold front. If a full moon coincides with good weather and comfortable water temperatures, that combination is genuinely worth prioritizing for night fishing. That's when I try to clear my schedule. If the moon is full, but conditions are otherwise poor, say a big cold front just blew through, the moon alone will not save the trip, and you're better off adjusting your expectations or picking a different night. So let's bring it all together. Lunar illumination does change nighttime fish behavior, but mainly through light levels rather than gravitational or Solunar magic. Brighter moons allow bass to feed more effectively by sight after dark. Darker nights reduce that advantage and push bass towards slower, more structure-oriented feeding. Broader claims about moon phases controlling overall activity or guaranteeing peak bites simply are not strongly supported by the best available research. Use the moon as one useful piece of context for night fishing decisions, not as the main decision maker. Match your presentations to the available light, respect the bigger factors of weather and temperature, and you will make far better use of your limited nighttime hours on the water. If this helped you sort out the moon phase theory, drop a comment and tell me what you've experienced on night trips under different moons. Have you had a full moon dud or a new moon that shocked you? I read and reply to every comment, and honestly, some of the best insights on this channel have come from you guys sharing your own trips. Subscribe to Green Valley Anglers for more science-backed bass fishing strategies. Hit the bell so you never miss a new video. And share this with someone who still plans every trip around the Solunar tables. It might just save their next night out. Tight lines out there. Travis, signing off.